God. It's such a vague thing, isn't it? Who is God? And the Bible tells us that God is this God who revealed himself in Genesis. We heard about that last night, didn't we? Through creation. And the psalmist says that when I consider the stars, my heart is filled with awe. So this is a God who's revealed himself through creation. He's also a God who's revealed himself through the stars. He's a God who's revealed himself, Romans says, through all that he has made. But the most full way that God has revealed himself is in the person of Jesus Christ. The person of Jesus Christ. And the Bible says this. It says that if you have seen Jesus, you have seen the Father. And Jesus, who is he? Well, we paint him as this kind of Swedish supermodel who wears a bathrobe and has really, really, really blue eyes, don't we? That kind of carries around a little sheep. I don't know if you carry around a little sheep, but I just don't think it's convenient. I think it's awkward enough carrying this microphone. But Jesus, the Bible says, is the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. And I wonder if you ever really thought about that phrase, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. But what the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings kind of means to me is that the Bible speaks of this moment in time in the future when one day every prime minister and every queen and every president and every pope and every minister and every bishop and everybody who's ever led a country or led an organization, or delivered some milk, or delivered the post, or delivered some mushrooms, whoever, one day they will kneel before Jesus. And they will say, you are the King of Kings. You are the Lord of Lords. And that's who this invitation's from, guys. This isn't an invitation from the people who run Remission. It's not an invitation from the Protestant church or the Catholic church or anybody else. This is an invitation from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Jesus of Nazareth. Second question. Who's it to? Who's it to? It's to you. And let me just cover some bases here. I don't care whether you've had sex. I don't care whether you've got addicted to looking at websites and masturbating. I don't care if you have got a drug habit or an alcohol addiction. I don't care if you curse at your mum. Well, I do a bit, but I don't care if you curse at your mum. I don't care if you beat people up. I don't care if you get beaten up. I don't care if you think you're worthless. I don't care if you think you're brilliant. This invitation from the Lord of the Lords and the King of the Kings is for you. Just let that sink in. Stop thinking about the people on either side of you. Stop thinking about the people that you invited here. Stop thinking about all that stuff and focus on the fact that the Lord of Lords, the one who created the world, the one who created the stars, the one who died on a tree, died there to give you an invitation to be close to him. Finally, if you just put up those next few points. This is it. What's it all about? We've thought about who's it from. We've thought about who it's to. What's it all about? Here's three things, and these are the three things I want to talk about tonight, and then I am done. First one, forgiveness from the past. Second one, new life here today. Third one, hope for the future. You got that nailed? Let's say them together. Number one, forgiveness from the past. Number two, new life here today. Third one, a hope for the future. I'm going to let some of you go that didn't say it. First one, forgiveness from the past. I've done this before with some of you, but I'm going to do it tonight. Just suddenly want to do it. Okay, I want you to imagine that you die. You okay? Okay. I want you to imagine that you die now. And you find yourself in this theater. I've done this with some of you before, but I'll do it again. You find yourself in this theater, and suddenly this kind of spirit comes into the theater. You're the only one sitting in it, movie theater. And the spirit says to you, this is the theater of judgment. Relax. And what starts to roll on the screen is the story of your life. Everything you've ever done and everything you should have done, but you didn't. Unfortunately, what also rolls on that screen are the thoughts you had. The times when you had an angry thought towards someone, the times when you had a lustful thought towards someone, all the times that you thought things that you would never want to say out loud. Just ask yourself, what rating would that movie be? I don't know if there's any PGs in the house tonight, is there? And then I want you to imagine the Spirit says to you, now Simon, now Keith, now Dylan, we're going to bring your family and your friends and everyone who knows you in. Are you starting to see that we have all messed up? Are you starting to see the words from Romans 3 verse 23 that say that we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God? I want you to picture this. I want you to picture that I'm standing here and there's 2 barrels in front of me, okay? You with me? And in this barrel, there's some sewage, full of sewage. Nice? Yeah. In this barrel, there's clear, clean water. Okay? You with me? Barrel, clean water, barrel with sewage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cup. I'm going to take a cup full of the sewage and put it in the water. Okay? Now I'm going to take a cup full of the water and put it in the sewage. What have I got in front of me now? What? What is it? 2 barrels of sewage, don't I? I have 2 barrels of sewage. And the lie that many of us buy into is this. We think we're not that bad, don't we? I mean, even when I think about myself, I think, well, I'm not Mother Teresa, but I'm not exactly Hitler. And I'm not Mother Teresa, I'm sure of that. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're Mother Teresa who's got a cup of it in her, or if you're Hitler who's just pure surge the whole way through. All have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. All of us have messed up and fallen short of what God requires of us. And the Bible tells us the wages of that sin, the results of that sin, is death. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. But there's this amazing thing. Have you all got a bank account? So think about this. If Victoria is 500 quid in the red, and Rodney, her knight in shining armor here, got together recently, pretty hot. Okay. Rodney is only 13 pounds in the red, okay? 500 quid and 13 pounds in the red. Guess what? Yeah, Rodney's pretty much better off than Victoria, but you know what? Rodney can't even begin to help Victoria because he's in the red. He can't do anything. He's 13 quid in the red. He can't help her. The only person that can help her and help Rodney is somebody who's in credit. Isn't that right? Somebody who's got 500 quid in the black. And that's how simple this message is, guys. All of us have screwed up. All of us have got at least a cup full of the sewage in our barrel. And the only one who could pay our debt is Jesus, who lived a life without sinning once. And that's exactly what he did, guys. Exactly what he did to get you this invite, to get you this forgiveness from the past. What he did was he died upon the cross, and then he wrote Rodney and Victoria a check in his own blood so that they could be forgiven. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? If you think that's awesome, make a little noise. I think that's pretty awesome. Rodney and Victoria don't care. That's awesome. Come on. Right. Forgiveness from the past. It's awesome. It's brilliant. But you know what? Second one is we've got new life today. You know, someone once said to me, and they're right, they said in some churches across this island, the only sign of life is a cough. You heard that before? The only sign of life at some churches is a cough. Because you know what? Sometimes Christians do not look very forgiven. And they do not look like they've got new life. I think Darren's already been touching on this tonight, but I want to really bring this home. I was reading something just a couple of days ago, and I was thinking about somebody who is absolutely at the top of her game, absolutely living life to the full. And the person that came to my mind was somebody called Rihanna. Yeah? She's got that song, Umbrella Other. Isn't that what it's called? Umbrella Ella. Sorry, I was really bad. Rihanna. I was reading this story about her a couple of days ago, and I was thinking, surely that's somebody who, at least for the moment, is getting everything out of life. Surely she's somebody who's getting everything out of life. And I read this story from her, where basically she was talking about being stuck in a hotel in Paris and feeling so lonely. And this is the what fame has promised, that she's going to have this amazing life. And she's talking about sitting in a hotel in Paris, not knowing a soul, not speaking the language, and feeling so lonely. So what Rihanna does is she walks out of her hotel room, she walks down the street, and almost just to make herself feel better, she goes and she gets her long hair cut really short. Okay? And she tells in this interview, and she's crying at the time, she tells in this interview about when she goes back to Los Angeles. Her producer tells her that she has to put hair extensions in because that's not how they want to market her. And I hope I remember this quote pretty well. But here's what she says. She says, as somebody who's 17 or 18, and they believe they've finally got everything they want, it's at moments like this you realize that you're just someone else's tool for making money. And you feel horrible. And you know what? I could tell you so many celebrity stories about people who have got right to the top and feel rotten because it hasn't satisfied. And we could even think about Cheryl Cole, who's #1 hottest FHM woman in the world. And look at her. She's been rejected. There's a whole book in the Bible called Ecclesiastes, which talks about the whole emptiness of following after money and wisdom and women and feeling like you've been chasing the wind. Because when you finally get it, you realize, this is not enough. I don't know what you're hoping to achieve over the next 10 years. I touched on this in the promo DVD. I don't know what you're hoping to achieve in the next 10 years, but you know what? If you achieve it all and you don't choose Jesus, if you achieve it all and you don't accept this invite, you're going to be empty. And you're going to have that hole in your belly every morning when you realize that there's something more and I'm missing it. What does Jesus say? He says in John 10, verse 10, I have come that you might have life and have it to the full. I said I became a Christian 14 years ago. And you know what? Has there been times when I've wanted to go out and have some drinks and get absolutely stone drunk? Yeah, there has. Really honest, there has. There's been times when I've felt like cutting loose. Has there been times when I felt like having sex with somebody? Yeah, there has. But you know what? There's never been one moment when I've wanted to give up my relationship with Jesus for anything else. Because when Jesus comes, the Bible tells us that he begins a good work in you. And he continues it and he'll bring it to completion.